All right, everybody, peace. Welcome to the Sorry to Bother You show. Wherever or however you are listening, we're so grateful to have you here with us. As you guys know, I'm your host, Kashawn Cottle, and this is my co-host, Mr. Dre Pennington.
Woo! We back 2021. Let's go.
Dre, this
We
is
made
our
it,
first show of the year, man. How are you feeling?
bro. It's exciting. Number one, starting off well, starting off right. I like this.
Hopefully, we start on a good note, right?
Oh, of course. We always start on a great note.
Sure. Yeah. Right. Uh, Dre, we've got a lot to talk about today, man. NFL wildcard weekend is
Ooh,
on us. Uh, I think you have some good predictions coming up, right?
man. I'm hoping I'm hoping I do pretty well this weekend. Let's
Mhm.
see who I pick. See who gets it pretty well. See who gets good.
You got some
But
good predictions so far, though, this year.
I think I have. But I've also been terribly wrong on a couple predictions.
Hey, you win some, you lose some, right?
Very true. We've learned this.
I think you might have a better win-loss record than me so far this year.
Maybe, but I know for sure the college football I might not have. That's one I don't. I know I don't.
That's the easiest one, though. That's gonna be our easiest prediction on this show.
Wow,
Uh,
wow. We may differ again. I don't know. It might happen again. It might happen again today.
well, we will see when that comes up. But also, Dre, we've got two pretty interesting topics we're going to be talking about today as well. Who is the most athletic point guard to ever win a championship? You brought that idea up to me a couple of days ago, and it stumped me. So it's going to be interesting to see what our fans have to say about that. And also, we're going to be talking about financial stability and what are some of the important keys to having it.
That's a good topic, honestly. A lot of people have different opinions, I would say, and I'm waiting to see some of the answers on this. I got to hear.
The answers are going to be very interesting, Dre, to say the least.
All
So,
right.
with that being said, let's just hop into it, right?
Yep. Let's get it.
Right into it, man. Like we said, NFL wildcard weekend is upon us, and the first game on that slate is the Indianapolis Colts going up against the Buffalo Bills. Dre, I'll give you the point spread in the over under. Currently, as we speak, the Buffalo Bills have a spread of 6.5, and the over under is currently 51.5.
No.
What do you right? What are your thoughts so far for this game?
Um, you said 51.5, right?
That's the over under.
So they're going off of the averages. So what I'm thinking about is, can Phillip Rivers live up to do his usual things that he's been playing actually pretty well this season. 24 TDs, 11 interceptions.
Hmm.
Um, what's that, about 2 to 1, 2 to 1 ratio TD to yeah.
Yeah.
Their defense, and these defenses also been holding people to 22 and a half a game, 22 points, 22 and a half points a game.
Hmm.
And they're 4 out of their last 5 games in wins, so they're trending pretty well.
Yeah.
That's the scary part about this game. But I also have seen Phillip Rivers choke some games away from having, and he had more talent. And I don't know, I don't know. Buffalo, Stephon Diggs, I see is questionable, so that's pretty big to me.
Hmm.
And even though Josh Allen's he's 37 TDs to 10 interceptions,
Right.
um, not having that deep ball threat and arguably the top 5 receiver in the league is pretty big loss for him.
Yeah. Uh,
So, what you thinking?
I want to ask you a question, Dre. So let me. You said Diggs might be is questionable. So if Diggs does play, does that change? How does that change Buffalo's offense?
So if Diggs doesn't play,
If he does, if he does play.
if he does play, a better deep ball threat, you got another weapon out there, and someone who's a playmaker. Like we say all the time, playmakers change games. Just one yard, one catch changes everything. especially in football. So you don't have that playmaker out there, and now you're forcing Josh Allen to step back into a pocket and just like create something. I don't know. I don't know if that's like the best thing for him, but he's thrown what seems like 37 TDs, which is great.
Right.
So I don't know. And they're trending right now really well. They won six straight.
Right.
So I'm gonna go with Buffalo, but because of the Indy, because Indy has Phillip Rivers and he's like Jekyll and Hyde sometimes in the playoffs,
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna go Buffalo more than the point spread.
Okay. Gotcha. Buffalo. Right. Gotcha. Dre, you brought up some interesting points that kind of segue into what I want to say about this. That first of all, you talked about Phillip Rivers and his inconsistency in the playoffs and his inability to show up in big moments. He throughout his entire career in San Diego, he's only made one championship AFC championship game. Now you could say that's because of a weak supporting cast surrounding him, or you could like I believe you could also say that it's because of his inconsistent play. And I think it's the latter. And uh, I think Phillip Rivers is going to struggle against this Buffalo secondary that that's led by Tre'Davious White and Jordan Poyer, and I think that they'll be able to match up well against the receiving core in San Diego. They play a lot of man coverage, press coverage, so I think that's going to bode well for Buffalo because their interior is going to be able to create a lot of pressure as well on Phillip Rivers and collapse the pocket on him. And mind you, they're playing up in Buffalo as well. So even though there's no fans, that's I still believe that that's a little bit of a edge towards Buffalo's way. But I think the most important factor that we have to look at is the Colts secondary and
Yeah.
able to slow down Josh Allen and Stephon Diggs. Now, I'm thinking this with the notion that Stephon Diggs is going to be healthy. I mean, not healthy. He's going to be able to play. He might not be 100% healthy, but that threat of him just being there is going to affect Indy's coverage system and force them to shift their coverage over to Diggs. You were bringing up some stats. The Colts are actually 18th in pass defense, while, like you said, Stephon Diggs is leading the league in receptions and TDs and is a possible MVP candidate. Uh, I think that the Colts, their defensive front, uh, is going to be going up against a tough Bills O line that has been playing well over the past couple of weeks. I think that Bills O line is going to be able to stop, DeForest Buckner and Justin Houston and the other guys in that front seven for Indy. And I think Josh Allen is going to have enough time to either, scramble outside the pocket or stay in the pocket and find Diggs on those deep routes or Cole Beasley on those crossing routes. I I think this game is going to be. I believe the score won't indicate how close the game is. I believe the game is going to be dominated by Buffalo, but
Mm.
because the Colts have such a good rushing game, uh, they'll be in it for a little bit. But I have the Bills winning this game by a score of 32-21.
32-21. I'll go because I don't think Buffalo hits their average margin. I'm not gonna lie to you. So I'll go. I want to say 27 to 27-17.
Okay,
I still don't think Indy just scores enough. I don't see it happening.
gotcha. I agree. Okay, so we both got Buffalo.
Yeah.
I don't think that game's gonna be close, man. But maybe this next game we're gonna talk about might be a little closer. A divisional rival, the LA Rams and the Seattle Seahawks.
This should be a good one.
Yeah, currently the Seahawks have the spread of by 4.5, and the over under for this game is currently at 43. Dre, I don't. I think there's not much to say about this game from in my opinion. I'm gonna let you talk about um my I'm gonna let you talk about Jared Goff in LA, but I'm gonna just say like this: if Goff isn't, first of all, not only if Goff doesn't play, but if he's not at least 65%, I don't think this game is close. I
Oh
don't
man.
think so. The only thing that's gonna keep LA in this game is their defense. Actually, Seattle's defense and LA's defense since week 12 have both been in the top five. Um, I don't think this game's gonna be close. I don't think that uh, even with Jared Goff in there, the Seattle's defense I think is gonna be able to stop the run, which is gonna stop the play action success for LA. And once that happens, you're asking Jared Goff to basically just drop back and win the game for you. And I don't think that's possible. Even if he was healthy, I don't think that would be possible. Also, Jamal Adams and Carlos Dunlap, this is their first time in the playoffs for Seattle. I think they're going to live up to the moment, and they're going to help that Seattle defense be decisive and execute on their blitzes and on their coverage schemes. And Dre, I think Seattle wins this game 28-21.
Oh,
Yeah.
going over this. Oh, over the spread. Okay. Um, like you said, if Golf doesn't play, kind of rough for them. But even if Golf is playing, I still think it's gonna be a little rough for them. But uh, honestly, I don't know about the Seahawks defense as much, even though they've been great since week 12. The Seahawks defense has been just kind of spotty, I would say.
Mhm.
Um, Also, I think the big thing is Jalen Ramsey has been doing Jalen Ramsey things, locking down. Oh my God!
Mhm.
And then obviously we know about Aaron Donald being the best defensive player in the league. So you have those two dynamic playmakers at the same time and playing, both healthy. I don't know. It might be a tough one. Can LA's defense hold up? That's the question I have. And also, the Seahawks have been giving up 400 total yards per game. It's pretty big to me. I don't know.
Yeah.
If all you need at Golf is just to do just enough. That's all it is.
Okay. One thing I'll say though, Dre, I think that 400 yards a game can be a little deceptive because, like,
Yeah,
Seattle's defense was injury riddled the first half of the season. But what we've seen is when they're 100% healthy, we see they're a top five defense. But like you said, they're going up against another team that's also in the top five defensively.
yeah.
But
Uh,
you think that Jalen Ramsey is going to be able to slow down DK Metcalf?
oh yeah. From some of the stats that I looked at before, actually Ramsey kind of locked. He really locked up Metcalf. I think he only had maybe one of the games he maybe had two catches, and then another game he didn't have a catch.
Mm-hmm.
So Ramsey is just blanketing him. So I don't know about them. I don't know about DK Metcalf killing this game, but I think they'll find ways for him to get open. The
Yeah.
dude's a monster. Um, Also, if no one's really been noticing, but Golf is also very turnover prone, and I don't like that, especially playing against a team like the Seahawks. Like you said, it's trending up defensively, and has a wide receiver. I mean, I said wide receiver, a QB Wilson who's thrown 40 TDs for the season.
Right. And
So
Dre, people have so quickly forgotten that up until about week 11, Russell Wilson was a top 3 MVP candidate.
hey, he was MVP. I'm not even gonna lie. I had him at MVP. I was like, oh, he's gonna run away with it. And I don't know what happened. I guess he came
You
down
had
to
him,
earth.
you had him over Mahomes and Rodgers.
Bro, I felt like this was the year that Wilson should like deserved an MVP. Because it's always somehow he's just like not snubbed, but he's just under that person who's won MVP.
Mhm.
It seems like that every year. And this is another one of those years where it's looking like he's not mentioned in it at all. It's
Okay.
definitely not Rodgers or Mahomes, but we'll see what happens with that. But I got Seattle winning. I'm gonna say 23-20. I'm gonna go under the spread. I think it's gonna be close. But if Golf doesn't play, it'll be a blowout. But if Golf plays and doesn't turn it over, it'll be closer than what we think. Because Goff has thrown 13 TDs 13 interceptions this year with 20 TDs. So he's turning the ball over pretty a lot for not throwing as many TDs.
All right, so let me ask you this: if LA loses this game and Goff doesn't perform well, does LA and Sean McVay start to look for another quarterback?
I think they already are, honestly.
Okay.
Goff for being their guy since even before their Super Bowl run. I'm sorry, their Super Bowl, the year they went to the Super Bowl, he's been really like another guy, Jekyll and Hyde this year. Like he'll have times where he looks great, and then he'll have times where it's like, dude, what are you doing? What do you see?
Right.
So we'll see what happens. I'm just kind of excited. I'm kind of excited about that game because it is a divisional like rivalry.
Right. You know, Dre, another game that I'm excited to watch this weekend is Tampa Bay and Washington. Currently, Tampa Bay has the spread of 8, and the over/under right now is currently at 45. Dre, what do you think is going to be the biggest key or biggest factors coming into this game?
All right, biggest factor is, can Washington put pressure on Brady? That is the biggest factor. That their defensive front, is it Chase Young? Is that his name?
Yep.
So he has been a monster this season. He's been killing it, and their defense has been holding it down. But their front, their defensive line is their team. Like that's the backbone of their team. That's what is holding everything up. Alex Smith, he's questionable right now. Their team's kind of injury riddled, which is kind of a little worrisome. Also, Alex Smith is just coming off of that and that crazy leg injury, and even though he's back and he's playing, I don't know. The last game he was in, he wasn't doing too well either. So we'll see what happens, but I think it comes down to, can Washington force enough turnovers on Brady to to at least put pressure on him? Because obviously that's one of the things that this year that we've noticed when Brady plays very, very, I would say under subpar, is when he's being pressured and people are like next to him.
Right.
But when he's got time and he's back there in the pocket, lights out. He's been killing it.
Right.
But also, I don't think Mike Evans is Mike Evans out this week?
Questionable.
Okay. But also Brady and them, the last, I want to say 4 games, guess the teams that they beat.
They beat Atlanta twice, right?
Yeah.
They have also beaten Detroit.
Detroit is one.
Carolina.
Oh, and Minnesota.
Okay.
3 of those teams are, dude, come on, like Detroit is not there. And Atlanta, I think they had a comeback on Atlanta. So I don't know if that tells me too much.
So
and then Minnesota.
You're worried about Tampa's offense?
I would say a little bit, because they have all the weapons to just be explosive, but I can't tell if they have that like camaraderie to just go out there and do magic. And this is one of those years where it's like, does Brady prove the haters wrong, man? It has to be.
Dre, where are you going with this, man?
I kind of want to say
going with this.
I kind of want to say Washington makes it close.
Own it. No, own it, Dre. Own it. Own your pick, bro.
Tampa wins. Washington makes it close. And if Mike Evans is out, it's going to be a dogfight. But 20, I'm not going to get this. It's not going to get the spread. I'm going to say 27-23.
Tampa.
I'm going close. Tampa. This is close games. Okay. No blowouts. We're wishing no blowouts this year. Uh-oh.
Great. I love you, man.
Native of DC. What are we gonna say?
You were so close with this pick. You were making all the right points, talking about Brady and not being able to handle pressure, their inconsistency,
Uh-oh.
Washington's front seven. You were making all the right points up until the last second. I was really hoping that you were going to make this right decision, but unfortunately you didn't, and I had to explain why.
Okay.
Now, like you said, Chase Young, who is probably going to be the defensive rookie of the year, another MVP candidate, in my opinion, is one of the leaders on that front seven in Washington. Dre, let me just read off the players on this front seven in Washington. So we got Deron Payne, a first rounder, Jonathan Allen, another first rounder, Chase Young, Bostic, Sweat, and Ryan Kerrigan, who's coming off the bench, who was another first rounder. Dre, now you know, because this is also one of your teams, that front seven is built exactly like San Francisco was last year.
They are.
They were led by Bosa, and we saw what they were able to do when they got into the playoffs. And like you said, Dre, earlier, Tom Brady in the last two playoff games that he's played in, if we look at the type of defenses they faced a tough front seven in Tennessee and an even better front seven against the Rams in the Super Bowl. And we saw how he struggled against defenses that are able to apply pressure because, yes, he's able to step up into the pocket, but he's not able to scramble out. And so Washington does a good job of collapsing the pocket on Tom Brady or on all the quarterbacks they face this year. And by them being able to collapse the pocket, it makes it easier on the secondary. Now, I will say this: Washington's secondary is ranked 27th in the league. The reason a lot of people don't know it is because like we said, the front seven has just been so good that they've made up for the mistakes that the secondary has made. And Dre, like you said yourself, Tampa Bay has been inconsistent offensively. Mike Evans is questionable for the game. Antonio Brown has yet to find a rhythm with Tom Brady. Gronkowski is starting to get up there in age. We can tell by his plays and his route running. Godwin is still there. He's still healthy, but we're gonna see the inability of Tom Brady in terms of getting the ball to his receivers. And Dre, I think you just gotta own the pick, man. Look, I'm gonna give you two other stats too. So the last two teams with losing record to make the playoffs was the Seattle Seahawks in 2010,
Okay.
the Carolina Panthers in 2014,
Oh wow.
which was led by who? Ron Rivera, the head
Both.
of the Washington football team. And I think, and you say it all the time, Dre. The sports is all about narrative. They've got the comeback player of the year in Alex Smith. They got a coach in Ron Rivera who has battled chemo throughout the season. They cut their first round pick from last year in Dwayne Haskins. This is just a storybook season for the Washington football team. And Dre, just own it. Own the pick, bro. Own the pick. Now I've got Washington winning this game by a score of 24-21, and it's going to have a lot of people questioning if Tom Brady should retire at the end of the season.
I just want to know, like, who's going to score? Like, we know what the object of the game is. It's to
Right.
the end zone. Who is scoring on the opposite side? We know about their line, their defensive line.
And I'm gonna tell you what. So Devin White, the starting linebacker for the Tampa Bay, is not going to be playing this week. I think leadership is going to be them missing his leadership is going to be costly. I think Antonio Gibson is coming back from an injury he suffered in Pittsburgh a couple weeks ago. I think he gets back to 100% health. And we saw with Washington when they're able to run the ball effectively, it opens up the play action and it opens up the passing lanes for Alex Smith to get the ball over to Terry McLaurin and Phil Simms and their tight end Logan Thomas. So I expect Antonio Gibson to have a big game. And so by Washington's ability to run the ball, eats up the clock, keeps Tampa Bay off the offense off the field. And I think Logan Thomas has a big day as well.
I'll say the only thing with that Terry McLaurin
Lauren, yeah.
also questionable. So we'll have to see if he's playing.
Yeah, he played last week in Philly, so I'm just expecting him to play again.
We'll see what happens. So we now see who we pick. We now see where we differ.
Own the pick, Dre. Come on,
I'm
beat.
with my pick. I'm picking the team that I'm feeling like, yo, they're gonna get this win. But like I said, DC native, I can't go against that. I understand.
That has nothing to do with anything. I'm completely unbiased in my
Hey,
pick.
we'll see.
Dre, the next game we have is the Baltimore Ravens going up against the Tennessee.
Ooh.
This might be the best game of the week. Baltimore currently has the spread of -3, and the over/under is currently sitting at 55. Dre, what do we got?
Look, we know we have on one side, and we know we have on the other. Both I feel like are running teams, especially with Baltimore. Once they get their run going, not just Derrick is Derrick. I almost said Derrick Henry. Is Mark Ingram? I said Mark Ingram? Is Ingram playing, by the way?
Mm, I'll have to check the report again, but
Okay.
I'll check it for you. But does that affect your pick?
No. I don't know. I'm split on this one because I just seen Henry go for about 200 yards and run all over somebody last week, and he's been doing nothing but the same thing he did last year. Uh, but the only thing is, Tennessee's defense is horrible. They are not good. They're giving up about 28 points a game, and I think that affects everything because Lamar Jackson and the Baltimore Ravens, I think they can be explosive at times. The only thing, but I think Baltimore not having a wide receiver that's like a very reliable wide receiver is going to hurt them. Um, but I'm gonna go Baltimore. 30, 21 Baltimore.
Okay.
I think their defense they've been stopping everyone. For the last 3 games, they've held everyone under 100 yards. Granted, those couple of those teams are not the best, but that's still a good sign. And they're trending up. They've won five of their last 5 games. Also,
Mm-hmm.
um, now Derrick Henry, does he go wild? That's the question. And can Tannehill make enough plays throwing the ball to really like put them over the top?
Right.
That's the only question about everything. But I think Baltimore can get this dub and get a revenge. Like we said, narratives. Hey, trying to get that boy Lamar. Was he? Oh, is he 0-2 in the playoffs?
Yep.
Trying to get his first win and move on. I don't know. I think he's got it.
Dre, I've been going back and forth with this game right here, particularly all week. Um, and Dre, I hate to say it, man, but I think you might have convinced me on this one, man. Up until our pre-draft for the show, I was sticking with Tennessee, but you brought up some good points. Baltimore's ability to run the ball against Tennessee, and like you said, Tennessee's defense is susceptible to the run, and they're allowing 28 points per game. I think that bodes well for Baltimore. And if we look at the Ravens' success this season, they play extremely well on the road, right? And like you said, though they had a weak schedule over these past couple weeks. Baltimore looks like they're starting to find their rhythm offensively, especially with the run blocking, opening up the play action for Lamar Jackson over to Hollywood Brown. Uh, and couple that with Baltimore's rush defense, which ranks seventh in the league, I think this is starting to paint the picture of, like you said, Lamar Jackson's first playoff win. Now, Dre, I have a specific stat though that's almost a caveat that I want to throw out there.
Okay, let me hear this.
If Baltimore limits Derrick Henry to under 120 yards, then Baltimore will win this game by a score of 28-21. However, if Derrick Henry goes over 120 yards, Tennessee will win this game by a score of 32-17.
Wow. Wow. Why such a switch at 120?
Because I believe that um, that the way Tennessee is built, it'll be easier for them to eat up the clock against Baltimore. And I think Tennessee is built better to play from behind if they do ever get behind. And I think Baltimore, like we saw last year, they're not built offensively to play from behind. They're built to play with the lead. And I think if they allow Derrick Henry to rush over 120 yards, I just don't see them leading very often in this game. In fact, I see them getting behind early if that's the case, which is why there's such a difference between the score.
Okay, I respect that one.
Well, I'm sticking with what you. I'm trusting you on this one though, Dre. 28-21, Baltimore.
Okay, let's see what happens. That might be the most exciting game.
Yeah, definitely, in my opinion, like you said, most exciting game. But Dre, we got another game. We got the Chicago Bears going up against the New Orleans Saints. Dre, do you want to take this one or do you want me to take it? Because
I think you should take this one because I honestly have one opinion, and that is that I've never seen a team get lucky and limp into the playoffs, and I think Chicago found a way to do it.
Dre, you're being very generous. This game is going to be a blowout. 34-10, New Orleans.
You go 34?
34
Oh,
New Orleans. Nick Foles gets subbed in for Mitchell Trubisky at the start of the second half.
They're going to try and see if they got a little magic left. Foles magic.
Foles magic. Something that the Eagles could have used this year, but that's neither here nor there.
Whoa. Chill out. We're not going to do that.
But in all seriousness, though, I think that New Orleans, their offense being back at 100% with Kamara being able to play this week, Michael Thomas being back, Drew Brees hopefully getting back to his form. I think that coupled with their defense is ranked number 2 right now in the league. A lot of people know that. I think they're going to be able to stifle Chicago's offense, which, like you said, has been inconsistent this year. So I just don't see the game being very close.
I don't think I do either. I'm gonna probably go a little bit more than you because I've seen New Orleans tear apart a couple teams this whole year, and they look great. I've been saying this the whole. I think the fact that we talked about it, and I was like, like the fact that New Orleans won their division this year is good, is like great on them, and the fact that they basically beat up their division the whole year, I think says a lot about them too. So I'm gonna say New Orleans probably like 40-17.
Well,
I don't even. Yeah, I'm going big. I'm going big because I just don't see Chicago putting up the numbers. I think Trubisky's just. I think it's his last year being the starter. I don't know if Chicago can find a quarterback that'll take over, but I don't know. They need to go. They need to look for somebody because that team has too much. They got a couple guys that I think are talented, and they're just not going anywhere.
Yeah. Wow. 40-17.
Yeah, I'm gonna go 40-17. There's got to be at least one big blowout. At least one.
That's huge, man. I don't even have anything to say to that. I just don't think this game's gonna be interesting. I don't think it'll be very close. Like you said, Chicago has been the recipient of an easy schedule. And they've just been wildly inconsistent. But we both say it's gonna be a blowout, so we'll see what happens. But you know what game is not gonna be a blowout, Trey?
What's that?
Pittsburgh and Cleveland.
Ooh.
Divisional matchup. This could be Cleveland's biggest game in franchise history. You know, as you already know, 2 coaches for Cleveland are going to be out due to COVID, along with 2 players. Their head coach, Kevin Stefanski, is also going to be out due to COVID. Dre, what are you looking at, man? What are you thinking about for this game?
Um, I'm gonna ask you right now because I didn't see it necessarily. Who won last time that they played together? That they
Uh,
played?
we in the last week of the regular season, Cleveland won, but uh, Ben Roethlisberger set out for Pittsburgh.
Okay. Uh, and what was the score of the first game that they played?
Not even close. Curve stomp, Pittsburgh.
Yeah,
Pittsburgh.
I'm gonna go. I'm going Pittsburgh. I'm not even gonna play like Cleveland. I've said it all year. I don't know why. I've never really believed in Cleveland, and it's bad because I like Nick Chubb. I think he's a dog, and I like Jarvis Landry also. Dog. Baker, I'm not sold on, but I've also been wrong because Cleveland's won some big games this year, but I just don't think they have enough to beat Pittsburgh. Even though Pittsburgh not they were very they were granted a very easy schedule as why one of the reasons why they started out so hot.
Mhm. Dre, I think that you are you are being misinformed by what happened earlier in the season to Cleveland.
It's true.
How you know how I felt about Cleveland earlier this year. I felt that a lot of their wins were flukes or they weren't playing good teams.
Yeah.
But over these past couple of weeks, I have been convinced that this Cleveland Brown is legit. They are matching up with Pittsburgh, who has been inconsistent over these past couple of weeks. Some would say terrible. They won. They came back and won against Indianapolis 2 weeks ago. And we don't really want to. I don't really count the last regular season game against Cleveland because they were resting a lot of their players. But I think that the presence, or sorry, the with Kevin Stefanski being out, a lot of people were saying that that's going to have an effect on the play calling for Cleveland. But I think that one of their assistant coaches, Bill Callahan, is still going to be there, and I think that's going to provide a calming presence for Cleveland because Bill Callahan is though he's not calling the plays, he has coaching experience last year when he was the interim coach in Washington. And I think that him being there provides a stable aura for Cleveland on the field. And I think that Baker Mayfield finally shows people, myself included, why is deserving of the number one pick in the 2018 draft. And I think that Pittsburgh they don't defensively, especially they don't find a rhythm, though they have been good against the run. I think this is shaping up to be Cleveland's game.
Dude, I just don't I don't understand. I don't know. I don't believe in Cleveland. I don't know why. It's just something about them. It's just like I feel like bad franchises find a way to like just teams just find a way to lose it. I don't know. I could be wrong, but I feel like I'm gonna be right. So you might have Cleveland. I got Pittsburgh. We'll see
What's
about
your
this one.
score?
Score. I'm gonna go because it's divisional and this is gonna be their third time playing each other, and on top of that, it's more at stake. But Pittsburgh has also had a several letdowns for the last couple of years. They've been in the playoffs.
Mhm.
I'm gonna go 23-20 Pittsburgh, but I'm not sure what happens because I'm not sure if, like you said, Pittsburgh's defense has been very inconsistent.
Right.
We'll see about that. That'll be an ongoing thing during the game. Also, does Juju do something this game?
Uh, I don't think so. I think the secondary
Yeah.
is going to be able to slow him down. And I think with the front seven up in Cleveland, it's going to be able to get to Ben Roethlisberger and put pressure on him, which is going to cause him to be inaccurate, throwing the ball down the field. I think this game is going to be low scoring. I got Cleveland winning this game by scores 21-17, and Cleveland moves on to the divisional
Wow.
round.
We'll see what happens with this one.
Dre, you know what game is not going to be close?
Wow, we're going back to this. We're saying that
Uh,
really?
Dre, you I'm very unbiased, right, in my predictions in my analysis of sports. I like to think so.
Don't that
Um,
guy. Don't believe that.
but Dre, the uh the real game that we should be watching right now, or that we're going to be watching on Monday, is the College Football Playoff Championship with the Alabama Crimson Tide going up against the Ohio State Buckeyes.
Okay.
Um, do you want me to start? Do you want to start on this one?
I'm gonna play off you this time. I want to see. I want to hear what you say because, like I said, you've been very right with college football, and I've been totally wrong, and I don't know how this keeps happening.
Because you know who you want to pick, but you refuse to pick them because you just don't like them. And I'm gonna show you why though. I'm gonna explain to you why you should pick the Alabama Crimson Tide to win this game. Right.
Okay.
Let me explain this to you. Um, First of all, coming into the season, I predicted that either Devontae Smith or Jalen Waddle was going to win the Heisman,
You
and
did pick that.
you saw what happened. Uh, Alabama is on pace to have a more efficient offense than the LSU Tigers offense last year. And we marveled over how great that offense was, especially in the championship game against against Clemson. Um, Alabama's defense for the first time in almost 5 years has a very solid secondary led by Patrick Surtain. The only thing I will say is their front seven can be susceptible is the weak point of that defense. But I think that that won't be a problem because with Ohio State, Justin Field is still hurt. He's not 100%. So
No,
that
no.
takes away his running ability, which takes away Trey Sermon's effectiveness on the read option. And I think that the size of Alabama up front offensively opens up the running lanes for Najee Harris, who is going to be the first quarterback taken in the draft. And they're able to keep the pocket clear for Mac Jones, who has had whose passer rating I believe is the best all time in Alabama history for a single season, even better than Tua. And Dre, I think that Alabama, though none of these players were on the 2014 Alabama team that lost to Ohio State in the semifinals. I think Nick Saban is able to tap into that energy and get the players who want to get revenge for that game. As
Mm,
I know, Ohio State later whooping down on Alabama in that game.
bad.
Yeah, bad. And I think Alabama gets revenge. And I think this score is quite frankly not going to be close. I have Alabama win this game by a score of 41 points. And everyone is going to be saying roll tide on Monday night.
Wow. Wow. All right, so I will give you that Justin Fields is still hurt. I don't know what was it specifically that he
His,
injured.
his ribs.
His ribs. Okay, so I thought so. If anybody watched that play, the helmet from the linebacker from Clemson hit him straight in his ribs. It was considered targeting, and you could just tell that it looked like he could barely move after that. The fact that he got up and kept playing, I'm kind of amazed with. But one of the things that we talked about, they're gonna give him that good old shot, get him loose, and be like, hey man, you got to go ahead and tough it out. Probably change his pads, but I like, I think, I don't know why I don't believe that this is a blowout. Even though, granted, you were right about last year, but this is different. I think this is different. I think Ohio State has a chance. They were on a revenge tour. They beat Clemson. They didn't just beat Clemson; they manhandled them.
Okay. A weak secondary. The Clemson team that has had a weak secondary all year.
Very weak secondary, and their defensive line did not do what I thought. They didn't contain Justin Fields at all, even though they knew that he was a passer and a run threat.
Mhm.
Just they overpowered them, I think, to the fullest. And granted, Clemson's front line is not anything like who is it? Clemson's defense isn't anything like Alabama's. But
Mhm.
like you said, Alabama's secondary, yeah, I think it's good, but I like this Ohio State team. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Mhm.
I think Fields gets it done, finds a way. He stays away from getting touched. Maybe takes a sack or two, but stays away from getting really hit. I'm going out on a limb.
No,
I'm going Ohio State
no.
beating the Tide
What?
35-28.
No.
And I'm
What?
calling it.
I just.
And then when it happens, I'm gonna go ahead and be like, I'm gonna go ahead and call you and be like, hey bro, so I know you want to roll Tide real fast, but like it's not happening right now. Like I just don't know what's gonna happen right now. I don't know what's going on with your Tide.
Yeah, I can't. I can't. We don't even know if Justin Fields is really going to be able to play.
He's
You know
gonna
how
play.
injuries are. You know how detrimental that can be. And for a quarterback who has to open up when he throws, he might not even play.
All right, so I'm not gonna lie to you. I did see him when one of the and one of the plays. If anyone specifically remembers this, you can comment and say anything. Like I'm tripping. He did in one of the plays hesitate to throw because he was scared to get hit, and he hesitated several times to run because he was scared to get hit again.
Mhm.
To get hit by another Clemson player because his side was. I can tell that it was hurting. He was in bad pain. But like I said, man, that shot will get you right. You'll be okay after that.
Dre.
We'll see what happens.
Dre, it's just the answer is right in front of you, man. Literally, the answer is right in front of you, yet you're just turning away from it. Like we're
I'm
supposed
not.
to have at least.
I I'll look. We'll probably say this on the show. I may never pick Alabama to win a game, honestly, and I'll be okay with being wrong.
Your pride consumes you, man.
It's
Roll
okay.
Tide. This game will
Oh my
be
god!
close, Dre. You know what? When we come back on the show next week, I just want to hear you say Roll Tide after the game is over, and you have seen the dominance of Alabama and Nick Saban. Okay, I just want to once we come back to the show next week, I want to hear you say Roll Tide. Okay, and that's all.
Wow. Wow.
But all right, Dre.
Okay.
Let's put football to the side for right now.
This is a good show.
Dre, we were talking a couple days ago, and you asked me a very interesting question. You asked me who was the most athletic point guard to ever win a championship. Now, at first thought, I was very it took me a while to really process what you asked me, but then I really sat down and thought and said to myself, who is the most athletic point guard to win a championship? Because then you start to think, well, a lot of two guards were athletic, and it's easy to think about the two guards, but an actual point guard, the most athletic point guard to win a championship. Now, Dre, we asked this question to the fans, and what we're gonna do is I'm gonna read you the responses,
Hmm.
and you can just critique each response that's read, and then I want to hear what your opinion is. Who you
Okay.
think is the most athletic point guard? So the first response that we have is Kyrie Irving.
Kyrie is like I don't think people understand like when we say athletic, like it's just when they jump head at the rim type of athlete. We're not talking about people that just dunk it. We're talking about people that are like, oh my God, get out the way. Kyrie is an athlete and but he's under I think he's more under the rim type of point guard. He's just extremely crafty and he knows like he has so many things in ways like finish.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think that counts, but he might be Like thinking about it, he may be up there as probably the most athletic point guard to win a championship. Because I don't think there's been a lot of them.
Okay. Kenny Smith.
So I've heard it. I never got to watch Kenny Smith. I'm so sad about that. And him and Hakeem's dominant runs in with the Rockets, right?
Yes.
Okay. What's that? The 90s? Was it when we were kids and children? That's crazy to think about if we talk about that.
Some of us weren't born until.
Yeah. Oh, my bad. I'm showing my age. 94. I was a baby at that time, I think.
I was non-existent.
I was fresh, either freshly born or just thought of. So, okay. But that's still crazy to think about because Kenny Smith wasn't even. I don't think he was the focal point of their offense.
Oh, I mean, Hakeem was.
Yeah, and Kenny Smith was. I think that team revolved around shooting.
Mm-hmm.
So I would think that Kenny Smith was a shooter if he was playing like a starting guard for that team.
Yeah.
Well, he did average 18, but yeah.
But then you also have to remember Kenny Smith won a dunk contest.
He did win a dunk contest. But that's back when they was doing windmills and they was getting 50s. So
don't be that guy, all right? Respect.
I'm giving respect. I just said, but we all I'm saying is Kenny Smith compared to, let me think. I'm not even gonna say Westbrook because that's the usual person that people think of. Kenny Smith compared to John Wall's first year in the playoffs. A really healthy John Wall.
Right, but we also have to remember that the training regimens have changed, the diets have changed.
True.
A lot, and the game is geared now towards athletic players, and a lot of players today were the recipients of better training regimens and better work regimens. Like I said, better diets. But
that's what I'm saying. Is he one of those guys that if you gave him all that, is he just a superbly gifted athlete if he trained in this era?
So the way I see it is that in great players can play in any era.
Yeah.
But I don't think athleticism technically transcends eras. Because you can be athletic in one era but not be athletic in the next. But greatness transcends all eras.
Yeah. So again, he would be more of probably around maybe Kyrie's athleticism or maybe one of those guys, maybe Jamal Murray's athleticism. Mm-hmm. Like guys who have bounce and can get up there, but not necessarily like, oh my God, explosive athlete.
Okay. This person, Oscar Robertson.
Hey man, the Big O was a 6'5" point guard in the 60s and 70s?
Late 60s.
So yeah. And we know about his stats. So we know about his athleticism. But to think that you have to go all the way back to the 60s to think about that question is still crazy.
Magic Johnson.
Magic wasn't. I want people to really think about this. Magic wasn't that athletic, but Magic was like quick and tall. But Magic's not like when I say athlete, I mean like athlete, like we said, like head above the rim athlete. Like they are explosive. And I don't know if Magic was explosive. Even for his era, I don't know if he was an explosive athlete.
Okay. Rajon Rondo.
Rondo was still below the rim.
Okay. Tony Parker.
Tony Parker's quick. Very quick. Don't get me that wrong. Very fast, very quick. Was he explosive? Not sure. Tony Parker has a repertoire of ways, like I said, below the rim finisher. Different ways to finish around the rim, different ways to get his floater off, mid-range shooter, all of those things. But he's more of a skilled guard than an explosive guard.
Okay. Jason Kidd.
I don't think J Kidd that athletic. And at that time, J Kidd was old when he won the championship.
But I think that's also part of the conundrum is
Yeah,
some of these guards could have been athletic, very athletic at some point in their career, but were they athletic when they won the championship?
yeah. And even then, I don't know was J Kidd that athletic.
Well, he
I
was.
was
I mean,
he was a decent athlete,
yeah.
but he is a 6'5", 6'6" point guard, which is very very good. But I think he's more of a decent athlete than he is an explosive athlete.
Okay.
Nothing taken away from J Kidd. Granted, J Kidd is probably top 10 point guard of all time, honestly.
Gotcha. Okay. Dennis Johnson from the Celtics.
Celtics. I've never really seen Dennis. I've never really heard of Dennis Johnson as much. And granted, I know he played with the Celtics. I'm sorry, he played with the Celtics, got some rings, but Dennis Johnson didn't. He came with on the latter years of his career to win rings, didn't he?
Yes, but he was extremely athletic when he was in Seattle. Another 6'4" point guard. Uh, he's one of the more athletic point guards that were named out of this bunch that we're naming so far. But like we said, because he won those chips towards the latter end of his career, a lot of people don't remember how athletic he truly was.
Yeah.
Not to digress or anything, Dre, but I think it's completely absurd that Dennis Johnson is not in the Hall of Fame right now. That is
Really?
completely baffles me and doesn't make any sense to me. And I'm not trying to get off on a tangent or anything, but there's guys that are in the Hall of Fame that may be deserving, but you can't tell me are more deserving than Dennis Johnson. You know what I mean? If your parents what because the NBA is becoming such the Hall of Fame, sorry, Basketball Hall of Fame has become so watered down. It's so easy now to get into the Hall of Fame that we have completely forgotten this great player and Dennis Johnson. I'm sorry that and I know if Chris Webber was a great player, if he's in the Hall of Fame, there's no reason that Dennis Johnson should not be in the Hall of Fame as well. Strictly off credentials.
Hey, narratives, man. We all know it. We all know about him.
Yeah. But not to digress, but yeah,
Yeah.
Dennis Johnson needs to be in the Hall of Fame.
All right.
If you don't agree with that, oh well, have a nice day. JoJo White, another old Celtic player. He played with Casey Jones.
But this is so what we're getting at. What I'm trying to get at is because think about that's the 80s and like so what be further back.
Yeah.
That's crazy to think. So like, what I'm getting at is skill. It's still skill over athleticism to win a chip.
But
And your point
JoJo
guard.
was extremely athletic as well. He
Yeah,
was one of the most athletic players during his era.
that's amazing. And he won a chip at that time, right?
Yeah, he won with he was a part of that team after Sam Jones and sorry, not Sam Jones, after Bill Russell. Right.
Bill Russell. Okay. But it like if you think about it, that's still back in the 60s and 70s. Like that's still crazy. Like that's crazy that we have to reach back that far to get to the question now when some of the best athletes ever are now.
But they're
But like you said, yeah.
still athletic. Yeah. I mean, just because they played in that era, you can't take away from how athletic they were. Because
No, I
all
would never.
work with what they had in that moment.
No, yeah, I would never take away from that. But I'm saying like what I'm getting at is so would you when you are going into the draft now or you're looking at players when you're building a team, like what would you rather have? Would you rather have that athleticism or do you want that key piece? Do you want the floor spacer? Do like all of over like all of what we talk about, especially in the NBA now, the NBA is matters about floor spacing.
Right.
And win an NBA championship, you have to have spacing. If you're a guard that can't knock down a shot,
Mm-hmm.
it's going to be really tough for you.
Right. And I think these next two responses maybe getting at what you're trying to explain to the people.
Yeah.
LeBron James.
Point guard. Yeah, I mean, he like I've seen some of the responses before. LeBron basically played point guard the whole time. And what is it? Realistically, for his career, he's really played point guard. We just call him a point forward. He just wasn't listed at that position, but he's always just been basically a big guard.
Mm-hmm.
And he's one of the greatest athletes ever in all, like I would say, in probably all of sports, which is crazy.
Why is another question, but yes.
Yeah. Oh my God. Okay. But he's like, but to think what I'm saying, like even still though, LeBron is, I think as he's gotten older and his athleticism has gone down a little bit. I don't think it's ever went down like that, but his athleticism has gone down a little bit. He still had to like really get skill based. Like he had to learn how to shoot and
Does he
three
really
point line.
have though?
Huh?
Does he really have a skill set? LeBron?
His bag is little. We ain't saying that his bag is big. We're saying that his bag is little. It's not. He does just enough what he needs to do.
I mean, it's smaller than a JanSport bag, man. I mean,
Hey,
it's no suitcase, but
does it get the job done? All right, all right. So what I'm gonna get at like this. I'm gonna think about it like this. Excluding the year with LeBron, I want to say look at the last five or six championship winners. It's been, who was it? Curry. I want to say Mario Chalmers. Who else?
Kyle Lowry.
I was gonna say Kyle Lowry, Fred VanVleet also, who I think is he getting paid? He got his contract that he won, his max.
Getting paid good money right now.
Yeah, Kyle Lowry, Fred VanVleet, who I think split those, and then who else was it?
Kyrie Irving.
Kyrie Irving. Yeah. So like, we named off those guards. None of them are super athletes.
Right. Right.
And two of them are arguably the two top guards in the NBA.
Oh, right. Okay, Stephen.
Yeah. Yo, I didn't say Laurie. I said two of Steph and Kyrie.
I was making sure, man. I was making sure.
No, I would never do that.
Okay, so with this last response, Dre, I will Isaiah Thomas. That's the last response.
Yo, people don't realize how athletic Isaiah Thomas is. My man was really like I don't even want to say he was six. What was he, 5'10" maybe?
He was listed at 6'2", but that might have been generous.
They stretched that one out a lot. That's wild. He looked 5'11" at best, and that dude was amazing. He is every essence of like what you can think. That he was explosive. He was a great finisher, and whatever like defender you put on him, it wasn't fair. Like it didn't matter.
Right. So Dre, so it just sounds like, so the point you're what is the point exactly you're trying to make
What I'm getting at is
with this?
when guys say like, though, and when you think about it, the reason why some guys I think will never win championships is, they rely on athleticism so much, and they're not as skill based. And especially now with how the game has changed, think about how much more floor spacing there is now.
Right.
And what is one of the reasons of that? Because shooting has gotten better.
Right.
Or people just been knowing how to chuck them up now. But I'm just saying, like, athletic point guards, I don't think win you championships.
Okay. So will we ever see a truly dominant athletic point guard win a championship?
I don't know because like I said, the game requires floor spacing, and the NBA is nothing but floor spacing now.
Okay. So knowing that, Dre, in your opinion, who is the most athletic point guard to ever win a championship?
LeBron James, man. It's the only thing. It's the only person you can think of. It's really the only person you can think of that's really played point. Was realistically a point guard the whole time. But if we're gonna be technical, we're gonna be technical. It has to be. I think it's gonna be Kyrie.
Okay. Uh, I disagree with you on two levels, Dre. But
Okay, hear this.
I just wanted to give this point, and then I want to get back to you explaining this. Just because the ball is in your hand all the time doesn't make you a point guard, right? A point guard's ability has had the ability to control tempo and not only play make but run the offense. And I think Isaiah Thomas exuded those components of a point guard proficiently. And Isaiah Thomas was the first little guard to lead his team to a championship, not just one, but
True.
and to this
True.
day, the only little guard to lead his team to a championship, not one, but two. But I don't want people to misconstrue this. I think LeBron James is an amazing player and he's a great point guard. But I think that LeBron has been the recipient throughout his career of coaches that have not forced them to play into a system, which is why it's hard for me to say he's one of the greatest point guards. Now I'll say this though, he's one of the best passers, maybe the second best passer to ever play this game. But and then also I want to get on to Kyrie. Like I said, during that time when he was in Cleveland, uh, you said it. I said it, LeBron was running the offense.
Offense, yeah.
But that can be taken away from the greatness of Kyrie. Kyrie was an amazing player, still is an amazing player, but he didn't have the duty of playmaking for everybody as opposed to creating shots for himself. Um, which is why I had to say that Isaiah Thomas is the most athletic point guard to ever win a championship.
Valid. Very valid. All
But
right.
but Dre, so say you're a GM. So knowing this, that athleticism and at the point guard spot doesn't necessarily bring you titles. What are you drafting for now then?
I think what you look for now is, and it's very very funny to say, who are the top 5 players in the league today?
Top of my head, uh, LeBron, Kawhi, Steph, Giannis, KD.
All right. So out of those 5 players, 4 of those guys, three. Are we still considering Giannis a small forward?
No, no, no. He's a
All right.
center.
All right. So 3 out of those 5 guys are small forwards,
Swing players.
swing players. So I think, essentially, I think swing players are what you have to draft for them. Like, I think that's what you build your team off of, is a swing player.
Okay.
I don't, other than if you can get you a Curry in the draft, then you go for that. But other than that, I don't know what you're gonna do. I would definitely just go for swing players or bigs.
Okay. Okay. So is having a non is having a great point guard necessary to win a
I
championship?
mean, I think having a great point guard is, but it just depends on how your team is set up. Like that, like obviously we're like thinking about the Warriors. The Curry system is built off of Curry, so he benefit. Yeah, like everyone benefits from it, but he benefits from it the most because he's but he's a skill based player. That's what I'm getting at. Like skill out over athleticism, man. Like it, as much as they try to push athleticism, it's still skill.
Yeah. I think the biggest example that can be used is Russell Westbrook. What's the Westbrook system? Yeah.
Mm.
He's another dominant point guard. doesn't have as large of a skill set as other point guards. We see the inability for him to lead his teams deep into the playoffs. Yeah, but I thought that was a great topic, Dre, and the responses that we received were amazing. Really appreciate that, guys. But Dre, there was another short little topic that we wanted to talk about a little bit. What is the biggest key to financial ability?
Ooh.
This is just a little fiscal awareness for our fans. So it's like we need to provide that to our listeners. But I'll read them off to you, Dre, and you say agree or disagree.
All right, I got you.
Consistent income.
That is, yeah. That if you're not making money, how would you? Yeah, that's a very big agree.
Okay. Knowing how to invest.
Um, also agree, but there are times where people just get lucky, and that is very funny to say.
I know what you're getting at, and
Yeah,
we'll save that conversation for another episode. I agree with what you just said. Uh, budgeting, knowing what's coming in and coming out, no matter how much you earn.
very true. Because when you budget, like I think that comes with experience and time, but knowing how to budget is I actually it's a huge that's a huge thing because that's how some players don't go broke.
Right.
I agree. Yeah.
Uh, simply saving more than you're spending.
Still hard to do because people have bills and have lives. That's very hard to do. I
Disagree.
I yeah, I might have to disagree with that one.
I think it's a lot more nuanced than that.
Yeah.
You can save more than you spend, but I'll leave that there because other people cover this topic. Consistent money flow. Not only making the money you earn, but earning more money than that, along with the fact that saving alone doesn't do as much.
Agree. But I think one of the things that people aren't hitting is the fact that you need multiple streams of income.
Well, with that, and which was our next response.
That was the next one? Okay.
Multiple streams of income.
Yeah, that is that's the one that I agree with the most, and I think that hits how do they phrase it? That's the hammer hitting the nail. Hitting on I don't know how people phrase it all the time.
Nail in the coffin.
Yeah, there you go. But that's the perfect one. Like that's how you survive, especially depending on where you live. That is the number one thing. You have to have multiple streams of income.
Right. Um. Right. Saving. Another person said saving. Agreed, but I agree more nuanced than that.
Yeah.
But I think having the right not just saving, but knowing where to saving that, knowing how much to invest. I think that's the right answer, but it's a little more detailed, right?
Yeah.
Um. Consistency and maturity. I think this is a very good response. There's bigger keys than just knowing the financial aspect of financial stability. There's also an emotional aspect to this. Consistency with anything in life is important, and the only way to have consistency is to have a certain level of maturity, which is why you see, which is why it's important to teach these fiscal responsibilities to the youth at a young age, so that way as they get older, they already have these concepts. But what do you think? Though, agree or disagree?
I agree. I gotta agree with that one.
Okay. Discipline and preparation.
Ooh. Hey, people don't realize, man, when you like I think like I said, that comes with maturity, like the one before. And but when you prepare, like just for an example, like the holidays, if you've prepared the whole like steps leading up to that, it's not as bad like spending wise as some people have made it seem. But when you don't prepare for it and you don't know how to like budget yourself for it, boy, it's rough.
For sure, for sure. Um, this person said money.
Yes, you do need money. I agree with that one. Not gonna lie, I do agree with that one.
Anyway, yes, yes. And this response, Dre, I saved for last because I think it is the most important response that we received out of all the good we got. Understanding the difference between needs and wants.
Yeah, I mean, let's be honest. Do you know the difference like now that we're out of school and then we're like kind of getting into everything?
I think I still struggle with that, understanding the difference between needs and wants, because needs and wants can vary on a day-to-day basis, which is why it's hard to discern between the two. But like a previous person said, consistency, maturity, and patience as well. Patience is a big one. If you're patient with your money and you're not spending frivolously, you'll be able to see, okay, do I need this or do I want this? If you just wait even a couple hours on a purchase, that should give you enough time to see if you really need it or not. But that takes a certain level of wisdom and discernment, which is why I think this is the most. I I I agree with this one. Understanding the difference needs and wants. What do you think though?
Um, I agree with it. Like you said, it changes day to day. Like, dude, like people, like you could like, all right. So one of the things that I would say is you can just an example was like lunch. So you wanna go out to eat. Like you really want to go out to eat, but
Mm-hmm.
you need to probably bring food from home that you've prepared. But who wants to sit in the office and like warm their food up? Like nobody wants to do that. People don't like that.
Facts. Facts.
You know what I'm saying? Like that's, and I think that's where like that's an example of like where we just everyone just struggles at.
Mhm. But
So
go ahead.
no, don't you got it,
I was gonna say, but like you said, those little $5, $6, $7 purchases, those add up. And if
man?
you do those throughout the week on, like you said, bringing in your own lunch, you'll start to see the dividends. You see the return on your investments on that, 2 or 3 months down the line.
It's just can you like, and I think like you said, maturity and I, I guess maturity and experience go are hand in hand. Maturity is one of those things where it's like it can show you, like it can help you out. Just saving, learn how to save money, learn how to budget.
Yes, budget. Yes.
Mm.
Did we did you say residual income? Did anyone
Did I
say
say?
did you say that?
I think no, I didn't.
Okay. I think that's also huge too. It's good to have multiple forms of income, but I think residual income needs to be one of those. You need to be making money when you're not working. Uh, little tidbit, Dre. We should look into investing and owning vending machines. A lot of people don't know that you can own your own vending machine.
Man,
Residual income.
people buy sodas every day. Go ahead and make your money off of that.
Don't drink soda, guys. It's not good for you. The more you know, right? No.
Man,
But Dre, those were the responses we had. Man, we got a lot of responses and they were great. We wish we could have read all of them, but it's always good to have be able to interact with the fans. Dre, that's all we have today for the show. Are there any shout outs that you want to give?
shout out to my like I consistently say it every week. Shout out to my guy Monte. He's trying to do his own business, trying to get the YouTube thing started. He's trying to be he's doing some motivational videos, man. I think people would really benefit from it, and I think they'll like him a lot, honestly.
Okay.
Um, Also, shout out to one of my good friends. He's being a not being he is a fashion designer. He designs his own clothes. You know, you can find him at Lord in the Stitch on IG. He he actually got me something. Hopefully, I'll be able to wear it. He designed me one of my own jackets and everything, and hopefully, be able to wear it one day. Show it off. You
Mhm.
know, look nice in it one time. Uh, and shout out B Rimby, man. He's one of my guys. Consistently, always watching the show, and he's always being attentive, being there for. Shout out you guys too, man. Shout out the fans. You guys are always great.
Yes, we love our fans. Absolutely. Couldn't have done it without you guys. Uh, Dre, shout out to the Nerdy in Many Ways YouTube channel. Shout out to the D'Anthony Evans YouTube channel. And Dre, shout out to my good friend Stephen Horton. As you guys know, if you've been following our social media platforms, the Sorry to Bother You show was blessed with a new logo design by Stephen Horton. Stephen Horton is the owner of Choir Boy clothing brand, and he's one of the best fashion designers, one of the best graphic designers in the business. He's young and up and coming. He has partnered with Nike along with many other organizations and companies, and we were just blessed to have him work with us on this collaboration, man. And we truly support it, or we truly appreciate it, and we love the support that he's given us. Hopefully, we can get him on the show sometime. But yes, shout out to Stephen Horton Jr., one of the best designers in the game. Dre, is there anything else you want to add before you sign off?
Nah, man, I think that's about it, man. You got anything?
Uh, Roll Tide, baby. We'll be back
Oh
next
my
week.
God.
Let's see how our predictions turned out. Continue to stay safe, guys. Make smart decisions. And until next time, guys, peace.